Welcome to the Whitetail Watch, produced by Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. Boy, it is a gloomy and dark October 15th morning here on the farm. My forecast for the coming week is similarly gloomy. I should be more optimistic, but it's really tough to be optimistic based on what I'm seeing while hunting, what my trail cameras are turning up, and what my friends are reporting. I think this is the part of the season where our patience gets tested the most. It's a cool morning, kind of drizzly. Gosh, it feels like November 7th. Like I really need to get in there and start hunting my best spots. But I always have to remind myself during this time of the season that October is not November. And there is a part of October that's pretty dead. Gosh, we've been through this argument so many times, and I'm almost sick to nausea talking about the October lull and all the people that say it doesn't exist. Just come and look at my trail cameras. Talk to my friends, sit in my tree stands. There is an October lull. There is a period when everything kind of shuts down. I think it's right before the things really kick into gear. It's sort of like the calm before the storm. Maybe it's a physiological thing that the bucks go through where they're almost gearing up for the rut. And I know it's got to be based on the testosterone levels that trigger all the different behavior in the bucks during this time of the year. But they have evaporated off my cameras. And I don't have very many cameras deep in the timber. And there's no doubt that if I had cameras near the places where the bucks bed, I'd be picking up photos of them. But they aren't traveling hardly at all. Not during the day or the night. Still getting some doe activity, getting the odd buck on camera, but it's really, really sporadic. And nothing like it was even 10 days ago or a week ago. So this is, I would say, a time for patience and maybe a time to do some preparation. You know, get that bow, you know, whatever sighting you need to get done, tuning, get all your gear together. You know, take this time to reassess where you're at and be ready for when things really take off, because this isn't it. Every once in a while, we'll get a little false rut in October. And I've seen it before, right in the middle of the month, because I do think there are some does that come into estrus a month early, but it's a very small number, and you'll see a real uptick for a day or two if you get, you know, in the right spot with the right doe, maybe that flickered a little bit of estrus and you know, got a few bucks fired up. But even when that exists, it's very short term, and it's hard to put that into a practical hunting strategy. Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails is brought to you by Redneck Blinds, Code of Silence Apparel, the Hunt Stand app, Whitetail Institute, Research Equals Results, B3 Archery, Muddy Outdoors Tree Stands, Stealth Cam Trail Cameras, My Outdoor TV, and Hoyt. If you're hunting right now and you really feel like you want to be you know, filling tags, or maybe there's some competition and you don't have the option of being able to hunt later when things get better, maybe it's public land, maybe it's a permission property where, you know, that you only have a certain amount of time you can hunt there, you can possibly do okay back in the woods in the mornings. If there's one thing that I have seen here on my cameras and talking with people, I know Carson and Amos have had some pretty good success here recently hunting mornings. And that is kind of a little bit of a twist from, you know, what I normally see in October. You know, well, I shouldn't say that. It's a twist from the patterns that I normally would hunt. I just don't have the time to hunt both mornings and evenings during this time of the year, so it's just a little bit more convenient to hunt the evenings. But there are maybe a few more deer moving in the mornings than there are in the evenings right now in daylight, back in the timber. The few cameras that I do have, that are back in, they are showing activity. So the point I'm trying to make is that now is a time for patience. I think you can make a big mistake right now if you start hunting aggressively. I think you're more than a week away. I think you're 10 days away from when this weather that I'm feeling right now and the impatience that I've got to get in the woods will finally pay off. October is not November, but the last week of October can have a lot of good action. So I don't want to mess up my spots right now. We push probably a little bit harder than we should sometimes. We're trying to produce content for the shows, to try to keep people in the loop. Maybe hopefully offer some good advice by being in the field and showing them stuff that's working or not working. But really, if I was dead serious about this, I wouldn't be hunting at all right now. I'd be letting all these bucks in all of my spots get more comfortable to really settle in and feel like when the time comes, that last week of October, there's no reason for them not to be on their feet in daylight. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep them comfortable enough so that when they really want to move, that there's no reason that they shouldn't. Don't give them a reason to be nocturnal or to move off to some other area. That's my word of caution. I'm gonna leave it there. If anything changes in the behavior, we try to keep you updated here, just on the bow hunting whitetail series. And that's things could change, and we'll keep monitoring, and we'll keep trying to hunt here and there, picking away at spots, because I'm still trying to help Jordan kill a deer, and she doesn't like when it gets colder. When it starts to get where the rest of us are excited about it, she loses interest pretty fast. So this is kind of prime time for her. So we are going to continue to hunt some. So I'll have a few more updates on what we're seeing behavior-wise. I'll keep you in the loop on what I'm seeing on my cameras. But again, I don't have a whole lot of positive hope for the weekend, other than if you really feel like you need to be in the woods and you really want to fill tags, you do have to go more aggressive. They just aren't coming out. The bucks aren't. You might still be able to find does, like I said, coming out into the feeding areas in the evenings. But if you're after a buck, you're going to have to go in after them. I do think they've started to mop up the acorns, though. That is one encouraging thing for more movement, because all of a sudden I'm seeing a lot more activity on the apple trees. That was very little until just the past few days. The amount of activity or where the activity is taking place is starting to change a little bit. So at some point they're going to eat all the acorns, or most of them, and then they're going to start looking for other food sources, and that's going to help us, because then the bucks don't have to bed and feed in the same spots, like they're doing now. They're going to move a little bit more to find food, and the same thing with the does. If the does aren't moving, the bucks aren't going to be moving either. So changing food sources is definitely going to help us. Well, that's my update for this week on the Whitetail Watch. I hope you have a great weekend. Keep checking back, and we'll continue to put hunts up and hopefully can show you some action on the Hoyt's Bow Hunting Whitetail series. Well, I appreciate you joining me. I'll see you back here again soon for the next episode. And remember to always dream big.